The following clip you're about to see is a small excerpt taken from my exclusive show on Rumble called Lies You Can Trust. It's fully uncensored because Rumble does freedom of speech. You can check it out live every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. Central Time. But for now, enjoy this clip. Now, I want to talk to you about the military, ladies and gentlemen. Just a couple nights ago, I had a chance to have dinner with a 4-star military general, General Randy George. It was a very illuminating experience, and I felt honored to be in the room with General George. I mean, there are, I think, only several, not very many, 4-star generals of the Army. So this is a man who has absolutely dedicated his life to serving America, defending America, and taking charge of the Army in a major way. And you might be like me, where you sit around saying, you know, I've seen some woke advertisements from the Army and it's, or the Navy, the military, and it's kind of becoming a joke. I think America is becoming a laughing stock under the Biden administration. And I have those points of view too. So I loved having the chance to talk to him about those things. By the way, he does not stand for let's recruit with drag queens. He doesn't stand for that. And it looks like that's on the way out. So I had a chance to learn directly, having dinner with General Randy George, what he sees as the biggest threats to America, what his priorities are with the military. And by the way, I loved hearing what he said. And I loved hearing what he described as the bureaucracy that he is out to change that is holding the military back. It just absolutely floored me. So I want to share some of that with you. But first, I came across a clip that I think will bring some delight to all the hearts of Americans that realize our armed forces, they're meant to defend the values of America and meant to defend Americans. We've just gone through a time where we see they're trying to bring queerness to the military instead of teaching them to shoot guns. Why is that? So something I saw recently that is long overdue. U.S. military lieutenant general says she will replace qualifications for queerness in her hiring process. Replace qualifications for queerness in her hiring process. January 20th, 2025 can't come soon enough. Of course, that's Inauguration Day. So let's see what she had to say.
January of this year, more than 400 anti-LGBTQ plus laws have been introduced at the state level. That number is rising and demonstrates a trend that could be dangerous for service members, their families, and the readiness of the force as a whole. When I look at potential candidates, say for squadron command, I strive to match the right person to the right job. I consider their job performance and relevant experience first. However, I also look at their personal circumstances, and their family is also an important factor. It's a good match for a job does not feel safe being themselves and performing at their highest potential at a given location, or if their family could be denied critical health care due to the laws in that state. I am compelled to consider a different candidate and perhaps less qualified.
So I think what we're seeing, this isn't the military general, but we're seeing what the U.S. military lieutenant general, not named, that they'll be replacing qualifications for queerness. Hopefully you followed some of that. Let's see the rest of what she says.
Those barriers are a threat to our readiness, and they have a direct correlation to the resiliency and well-being of our most important operational advantage, our people.
Yeah, she's saying those qualifications can be a barrier. They can be a threat. So I believe maybe she is the military lieutenant general who said that. We're going to replace queerness qualifications with personal experience. And if they have issues that might compromise their job, I'm going to consider someone else for the job. Let me tell you something that I learned from dinner with 4-star Army General Randy George. He said, here's what my 2 priorities are with the military, and I want to not spend any money on anything else. Rumor has it he sits on $500 billion of budget. He said, if spending money, whether it's things or training, doesn't increase lethality of the military or doesn't increase cohesion within the military teams, I will cut it. And by the way, he's put his money where his mouth is. He's had to face the fire from different senators who are kind of doing the whole military industrial complex-ish type stuff, from businesses, companies within their constituency. So it's not just easy for him to cut these things. He has to face the fires of kind of coming from hell, but he faces those, which I appreciate. Anything that doesn't increase lethality of our military or increase cohesion of the teams, we're not going to spend money on it. I like that. He also shared, you've probably seen correlated with a year or two ago when like the Navy's like drag queen recruitment videos came out. And you might have been thinking, boy, I bet that's going to increase recruitment. Well, it actually had the opposite effect. Recruitment went down. However, he said over the past year, recruitment has gone up. I don't think it's still where he wants it to be, but it's trending in the right direction. Now, consider these statistics, and I talked to him about these statistics, and I've got the exact statistics in front of me because I want to be accurate. As of 2020, this isn't 2024, so keep in mind it probably hasn't gotten better. As of 2020, approximately 77% of Americans aged 17 to 24 were ineligible for military service without waiver. This ineligibility was due to health-wise, they're ineligible. 77% of Americans between the ages of 17 and 24 are not fit for military service due to health reasons, physical or mental. We'll get back to the video in a second, but first, here's a random question for you. Have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? Well, I recently saw a video he made and I was shocked. Chuck Norris is in his 80s and still active and kicking butt like he's decades younger. What's even more shocking is he's stronger, can work out longer, and still has plenty of energy left over for his grandkids. He did this by making just one change. He says he still feels like he's in his 50s, and in fact, his wife was so impressed by this one thing, she started doing it too. She's never felt better. She says she feels 10 years younger, she's leaner, and has plenty of energy. Now, to unveil the mystery, Chuck Norris made a video that explains everything. Be sure to watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/JP or click the link in the video description below. Once again, that's chuckdefense.com/JP or click the link in the video description below. You will not believe how simple it is. And hey, just a reminder, the legendary Chuck Norris is a whopping 84 years old, yet has more energy than most 40-year-olds, maybe even including me. And he discovered he can make dramatic changes to his health by focusing on just 3 things that typically sabotage people as they age. Watch Chuck Norris's method by clicking on the link in the description below or go to chuckdefense.com/JP. Now back to our video. This ineligibility was due to factors such as being overweight, drug and alcohol abuse, and medical or physical health issues. Holy Lord. Now, take a step back for a second. General George also, he was talking about his 6-year plan. And while he said, by the way, I don't know if we have 6 years. So what do you mean? He said, the world's more dangerous than you think. He talked about Iran, Russia, all these world superpowers that have nukes. And it was very sobering when he said, oh, 6-year plan. By the way, I don't know if we have 6 years. Nonetheless, with these threats that a 4-star general believes are very threatening, and our military, don't think military industrial complex, but think like what the military is meant to do. Defend America and American people in a time when he says, I don't even know if we have 6 years. And he also shared humans are absolutely the most essential asset for the military. Yeah, there's high technology, weapon systems, all that cool stuff, but humans are still what's most essential for our military. So we're living in the most threatening time. Yet we're living in a time when 77% of young Americans between the age of 17 and 24, so military age, males and females, are unfit to serve in the military. They couldn't qualify due to health issues, mental or physical. And by the way, it mentions like drug and alcohol abuse are part of that. That's likely correlated with a mental health issue. Basically just think, wow, that is a very shocking statistic, both for national security and just the state of health of young Americans. And of course, RFK Jr.,
President Trump, their Make America Healthy Again campaign. I've heard RFK Jr. quote these same statistics. It can't come fast enough. It truly is time to make America healthy again. Why? Because as individuals, we deserve it. We deserve to have the opportunity to be healthy. We've always had that. However, we deserve to live in a country where the deck isn't just maliciously stacked against us, whether it's done on purpose to demasculinize men through estrogenic chemicals in our food supply, all the products, you touch receipts, you get the chemicals on you. Whether that's done on purpose with a perhaps communistic agenda to weaken America by weakening the men that are military age, which, by the way, whether that's done on purpose or coincidence, it's been very effective. Let's weaken America. America is pretty weak. If 77% of our military-aged citizens are unfit for military service, that's shocking, both at the individual level, but also at the national security level. If this trend were to continue, if we didn't, and I'm optimistic what RFK Jr. can do and his team within the Trump administration, I'm optimistic what they can do. And dear God, we need it done, because if this trend were to continue, we can't even recruit, or we have to lower standards and literally have ill people in our military. I would dare say that's what some evil foreign tyrants who hate America would want. So we have some work to do. Some other things I want to share with you from my dinner with General Randy George. I asked him, what's your biggest concern? And he said, focusing on two things: the ever-changing landscape that war is fought on. We have to adapt, and we have to adapt fast. He also mentioned cybersecurity is a huge concern of his. I asked him, what's our biggest obstacle with meeting those two areas the way they need to be met? And he said, basically bureaucratic processes, which I would dare say are things that slow down the military due to perhaps the politics of politicians. So, for example, he shared with me there was a drone company. Military signed, I think it was like an $8 or a $9 billion contract with that drone company to deliver drones. You just say, cool. Is you using the highest drone technology? It took 8 or 9 years, and the drones still weren't delivered. General George cut that contract, and he faced a lot of backlash from the senators and Congress people who represented like that company's district. But things at the military, the spending moves so slow. So in other words, you sign a contract to buy a weapon system, drone technology, and then there's so little accountability. These companies, they're out for their own gain. I get it. But they don't serve the military as fast as it needs to be served. It needs to be more agile. So that's something General George is out to do. The other thing that was a major highlight was it really brought a lot of joy to me hearing his concern for the health of soldiers. You know, there was another person present, good friend of mine, Dr. Kirk Parsley, former Navy SEAL, and he's a medical doctor. And what he does now is he specializes in helping U.S. Navy SEALs who are done with their service recover their health. And Kirk Parsley chimed in and said, General, these SEALs, they get worn out. When they enter the SEAL teams, they're fit, they're alert, but then with all these things they go through, with the explosions causing repetitive head trauma, high levels of stress, the U.S. could get more years of service out of them if we took care of them along the way, not just like try to help them recover their mental and physical and brain health once they're done, but if we took care of them along the way and they had regular support with things like peptides, hyperbaric chambers, they would be able to serve in the teams longer. But the way things are, they just get destroyed. And I love General George. He was just saying, tell me more. I want to learn more about that. I'm into that. And he talked about some things they were already doing. He really engaged and was receptive. And lastly, I'll just speak to the personal character of General Randy George. I was shocked by how humble this guy is. I mean, he holds most elite of the elite ranks of the military. He's a 4-star general, for crying out loud. And you wouldn't know it. That's how humble he is. He was there to share information, yes, but he was far more interested in learning from everybody at the dinner. I mean, he was writing things down. He was writing names down. He was asking questions. He's saying like, tell me what you think about this. What's one good reason that this should be done and one good reason why this shouldn't be done? He was there collecting information. He was there to learn. And I would dare say it takes a lot of humbleness to do that. And that is a marker of a tremendous leader. So nonetheless, those were a few experiences I had, which I was very impressed with my dinner with General Randy George. And I wanted to share that with you.